thing was you need to write about the Sangam. Always be specific what you have to write. You have to write according to the question asked. You have not to write any useless thing because marks will be only given for the content, what has been asked, not for any useless thing. So try to remember, he always, it's not needed कि you have to give a very beautiful introduction or very good introduction, nothing like that. Whatever has been asked in the question, try to put that in your introduction part. So you have to write with this, the Sangam literature portrayed the social and economic conditions of its time, though not connected with the political history of South India. Now to justify how. South Indian history of Sangam literature, what they about this? They have two literature, Mani Meglai and Sila Padikaram. These two literature provided the social and economic conditions. You have to just explain the content of this, how, and this. Just content. So this too will help you know that you have written. Now comes the part of conclusion or significance. So you have to write, how did that social and economical condition got highlighted because of the South Indian history? How did? You have to prove that in significance. And what does it say signify? Even today also, it really helped to know India's ancestral history and India's connected history. In that we have to conclude. So this question focuses on content also, but conclusion also. Now take a question 2B. Chola architecture represents a high watermark in the evolution of temple architecture discussed. Some questions are bouncer type also, but don't worry. The question has been given evolution of temple architecture and Chola architecture. And I think 90% of the students study about the temple architecture, this North Indian style, South Indian style, that's called Dravida style. So try to draw a diagram of Dravida style. Okay, if you've drawn a diagram and explain the diagram with the help of Chola architecture, you will get marks. So diagram should be drawn with pencil. Never use pen simply to write any answer of diagram based. Try to write that answer. Try to draw the diagram with pencil. I'm telling you because this all things matters a lot. How you are going to present your answer matters the most. What is the content does not impact much. What impacts is how what is the presentation. So this was all about history. Now I'll come on the second part called geography. Geography is again very important part. Again, for geography, always have one success mantra in your main writing. Always try to draw diagrams. Always try to draw maps and features. If these three things if you follow, draw diagrams, maps, and features, for sure you will be awarded very good marks. No one is going to cut your marks for sure. So these three things for geography, GC Leong book is very important. See, don't the book's name I have mentioned you on my site called iasdream.com. You can go there and you can find the sources, the book and all, and you can get it. I think those books are sufficient. Don't try to study much. This book, that book, whatever book I have mentioned is more than enough. Features means actually features mean like some oceanographical features, like a cliff. Cliff. What is cliff? What is basically ridge? All those you have to draw the diagram. What are diagrams? So diagram you have to give actually and map. Map is very important. See one question I'm going to say, and you might be knowing paper 1 was the most lengthiest paper, and 99% of the students could not complete this paper. Why? Because it was very lengthy. But if you have a practice of answer writing, definitely this paper won't be a big deal. But I'll tell you 24th question. Okay, with growing scarcity of fossil fuels, the atomic energy is gaining more and more significance in India. Discuss the availability of raw metals required for the generation of atomic energy in India and in the world. This was the 24th question. And when I reached here, I had only 5 minutes. And 2 questions of 10 marks were pending. Imagine. So I thought to not to write for this answer, but what to do? Draw a map. I drew the world map, I drew India's map, and showed where are the available raw resource material, and then I wrote a conclusion. Why is that atomic energy significant? How can it be a substitute for fossil fuels in a significant, and what should be done to promote it? Just in 2 paragraphs. Always try to write your main answer in paragraph. If you don't have time, then go for your point wise. Otherwise, try to write with paragraph because paragraph writing will fetch you more marks because it is an IAS exam actually. So you have to give the expression based answers, not point based answers. Okay. Some people have said, what about the I think the magazine? So you should try to read the Kurukshetra magazine. Some people have named Kurukshetra magazine. Kurukshetra magazine is good. You can study. I'm telling you, study only one magazine. Whatever magazine you're preferring, study it. Because see, everyone wants an easy way. Don't go for tough way. So see, if it is easy for you, you are comfortable. Definitely go for it. Nothing is going to make worse or good. But you should be comfortable. So Kurukshetra is also good. You can go, but only one magazine. Don't try to study more. Because if you study more, you will be engulfed with so much of matter and all. So try to study less and write down more. So this is about the geography part. Diagram, this thing. Now remember two to three things. One thing, out of 25 questions, 4 to 5 questions will be bouncer, which you might not be doing. So try to not to be panicked. Yeah, I don't know. It's same for everyone. Second thing, what matters is how you are going to increase your speed. That is why you have to write a lot of answers. Try to write a lot of answers. Try to practice from 20 years back paper, 10-year back paper. Try to practice a lot of questions. If you have any test series, try to do that. That will be really helpful, and that will be really helpful in giving you speed factor. So try to do that on that part. Yeah, I will come on the conclusion part. Some people are asking, I'll come specifically for paper 2 because on that paper 2 conclusion part is very important. This is basically content based. History, try to remember significance, geography, map, diagrams, and all those things, and speed factor. So you have to practice. So try to practice around 100 questions from this paper. If you practice around 80 questions also from this paper, I'm sure you are in. No one can stop you from getting into this. Now comes the second paper called quality. Now I told you earlier also, this is the most easiest for prelims, but the most toughest for mains. The worst performer actually, it is very less marks. So for prelims and mains, so how to do that? How to get good marks in this? In quality, they are going to ask you all application-based questions. None of the questions will be on like mugging up stuff. What is this article and that article? Nothing like that. All questions will be based on how you are going to give a confined answer with contemporary issues with conclusion. So here the conclusion term will be important. So every answer should have conclusion, and what conclusion should compromise. Now please write down. Conclusion should compromise first part, Indian law and order. Law and order, because you're going to be an all India service officer, so you must follow law and order. Second part, component of Indian Constitution. Indian Constitution, what is the component? The preamble. Preamble comprises sovereignty, socialism, secularism, unity, integrity, justice, equality. All those parts must be highlighted in your answer. Every answer should comprise at least 1 to 2 points of Indian Constitution. And third point, your answer must contain the optimistic balance view. Optimistic means you should be very positive, though the question is negative, but you should be very much optimistic in your suggestion and very much optimistic in your conclusion and very balanced. You should be very neutral. So these three things if you put in your answer, and your answer should end always with the in context of societal interest and national interest. These two things is the really important for India. If you're a civil servant, you must have the focus for national interest. So your every answer should end with national interest and societal interest. So law and order, Indian Constitution, optimistic and balanced view, and fourth and important is ending on the part of national interest and societal interest. I will give you a lot of questions, answers I will upload on my site, IAS Dream, and there you can see how the answer is ending. So that is very relevant. If you give this type of answer and with contemporary situations, I bet you will get good marks. I think much better than other. So how to frame questions, sir? Some people have asked how to frame questions, sir. Question you can practice from 10 years back questions, or else you can get any of the questions in test series you can get in the market also. Get the questions, try to write questions and show it to your faculties and ask them to evaluate and give them suggestion, because what is important is in the initial time you might be writing very bad answer. Okay, might be, but then after 15 days, 20 days, you will be able to give a very good answer. So just believe in yourself, keep writing. Writing is the only success method for this exam, answer writing. So keep writing and follow these things in conclusion. Your conclusion should always have law and order. Indian Constitution is very important. Always write down at least 1 to 2 components of Indian Constitution which is relevant in the answer, like socialism, unity and integrity, equality, brotherhood, fraternity, this thing. So secularism, democracy, all those things. If those answers, see what they're asking, you are going to be an IAS officer. So what they're expecting out of you, they are expecting you must know, you must have the positive oath of Indian Constitution. So if you're writing Indian Constitution in your answers, it's a very positive, optimistic thing. And the third part, if you're giving this optimistic, balanced answers also, it's a very very positive thing. So because you are never going to bring any sort of negativity, because sometimes you are going to face the problem of the very, like, you will be tensed and then you will feel all sort of negativity, but you don't have. So they are trying to get those students who are very positive and who are very very much optimistic in their view. They have a long term positive view. Every government, when they frame the policies, they have a very visionary role. You might be thinking, what is the food security bill, national food security bill, this food security bill, though it is a very economically very burden, actually very high burden on economy, but it has a very large visionary role. It is for basically health welfare. It is basically for treating malnourishment, hunger, all those things. Better health. So better health will lead to mm, better health will lead to better what? Better participation in the government, better participation in the society, employment opportunities will be better. So you have to integrate those answers. So this is the thing. Now after discussing one, two, three, four, I'll say what is the answer writing. Some people ask which test series coaching is good. See, any test series is good, okay? But whenever before joining, just ask them two things. One thing is, you are going to discuss the answers or not in the class. This is very important, because what they do is they will check your answers and give you marks and finish off. So you should ask whether you're going to discuss the answers or not. And second thing, how many, like what is the apt marking, and you're going to give suggestions or not on every answer. What happens, we write answers, they will evaluate and will give some sort of any marks, random marks, but you should know what type of suggestion should be there by them, so that you can improve your answer. So suggestions will be there in paper 2. Very important. Don't leave, suggestions will be there. I'm telling you, this part, one third for content, one third for suggestion, one third for your conclusion is important for 1, 2, 3 paper. All the paper. Suggestion and conclusion for this paper is very vital. Now I'll go. Which test series is good? Again, I'm telling you any test series, but you should ask for answer writing evaluation. Now I'll come on paper 3. Paper 3 is Science, Tech and Economics, Environment, Ecology. This paper is very marks fetching paper. Okay. Some people have asked how many test series. See, if you're writing on your part around 300 answers from your part and one test series you join, it is more than sufficient. Some people have asked differentiate between suggestion and conclusion. Suggestion is what you're trying to give your views, and conclusion is how you are ending your answer with Indian interest, with Indian constitution, with law and order, with society. Understood? Some have asked what about society part in first paper. Society part is basically the social issues, the how the social framework is working and all. So you can study. I mentioned a book in my on you can study that. Society part is again that contemporary, the significant thing matters there the most. So some people have asked introduction does not contain any marks. No, introduction has marks, but they're not asking for that beautiful introduction. Beautiful introduction means what? That will give some sort of phrases and all. Nothing like that. I haven't given a single phrase in my answer, but still I got good marks. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter phrase and all. Matter is try. They are asking you the question what they're asking. Try to give that answer. Like याद है बचपन में we used to get the question कि what are the components of this? So we should write the components of this. Directly say like a child answer. Introduction is not mean that we are going to define first, then we'll try to explain that, because it will take your time also, wastage of paper, everything, wastage of time and all, and you will end up scoring no marks for that. So try to achieve maximum. Now comes on third paper, science and tech and economics, environment and all. This is very important part, and I'm telling you, if you study newspaper daily and write down, I think 30% to 40% of the questions will be directly from the newspaper. But they're very analyzing type. You have to analyze the answer, and again the framework of conclusion will come, and significance. Significance in the sense, what is the impact of that issue on the Indian context? How is that Indian context going to make that thing very relevant in world scenario, global scenario, national scenario, and local scenario? And conclusion part is again you have to give the Indian Constitution. This is very important in conclusion part. Second part, you have to give about law and order. And third, you have to end your answer in the terms of national interest and societal interest. If you end your answers by this, you'll get good marks. Many of my friends saw some answers on net and they said very good answer, very good content. But don't go by the content. Content matters only one third, hardly one third. What matters is how you're going to put this thing in your answer. If you have used conclusion and suggestions and very positively, very optimistically, very balanced, I'm sure you will get very good marks, at least 50% marks. And 50% you get, I think you are under top 5 or top also. So this is about third paper. Try to draw diagrams in your science paper or economics, like what is inflation and all. So try to draw the diagrams of demand side inflation, graphical diagram, and all the diagrams must be by pencil. No pen usage, all pencil, and should be explained. The following diagram illustrates like this. All diagram must be drawn by pencil, and always try to have maximum diagram for science and tech answers. Block diagram, normal diagram, any sort of diagram. It will really give you a good type of marks if you draw. Some people have asked how to write effective answers in word limit of 200 words. I think that's what I'm discussing about, how to write answers. Effective answers means what? You should have an intro. But intro does not mean that you have to give a very beautified intro. Just what is asked in the question, give in a line, 2 line, 3 line, give the content and cover the suggestion conclusion. That is what. IR books I have updated on IAS Gym. You can go for international relation. In international in the IR answers, international relation answers, try to have the following points. First is try to incorporate global scenario and try to integrate it with India's foreign policy, because IR is basically for India. So you have to give the implications on Indian foreign policy. You have to give the importance of Indian foreign policy and how is that IR going to help positively in India and negatively in India. And then you have to give what should be done. Like I'll tell you for the recent example, India voted for Palestine. Though India is very friendly with Israel, but India voted for Palestine. Why? You should try to figure out why. Then you should try to figure out India didn't vote like this. It might have some very special foreign significance, global significance. You have to find out the reasons and then you have to justify your answer. Examples of introduction, okay, I'll give you. Examples of introduction, some people are asking. Like the first question of quality was there last year. The role of individual MPs has diminished over the years, and as a result, healthy constructive debates on policy issues are not usually witnessed. How far can this be attributed to the anti-defection law, which was legislated but with a different intention? So just you have to give anti-defection. You have not to write about the anti-defection law, not at all. But you have to write anti-defection law, which was legislated, has really caused the impact of that healthy discussion. You have to give that line, and then you have to start how can this be attributed, because then you have to write anti-defection law was legislated by, to have that thing. So you have to write the points of that 1/3, 2/3 majority, and then you have to put a significance and all. Okay, so that is important. So now I'll come on the, so I think you might have understood the introduction part. Introduction is you should not try to give much focus on introduction. Introduction comprises the question part only actually. So, and conclusion part is really, really important. If your content and introduction is very, very good, and if your conclusion is not good, you will end up